Hey there, everybody, welcome to the next game in May Madness. This is game number 3 of the first round. Didn't think about this when I was putting these in order, but actually we got another Mets game. I didn't really plan to do back-to-back Mets games, but just the way it worked out. But I was so intrigued with this matchup that I wanted to get this out as the next game. So 69 Mets, led by Tom Seaver, taking on the Atlanta Braves 93 style, led by Greg Maddux. And I used Atlanta versus Philadelphia because Atlanta had the better record, even though they did lose in the division series. I'm strictly going by regular season records, so that's why Atlanta's there and not San Francisco. I'm sorry, not Philadelphia. All right, so let's look at the tournament grid, the little bit that's been used. We have Seattle winning the first game and the Mets of 86 beating Boston of 75. We're now into this bracket, this section, this quadrant. I want to do one from each quadrant before I start repeating quadrants. So we've got the number 10 seed Atlanta taking on the number 23 seed 69 Mets. The winner of this game will play the winner of the We Are Family Pirates and the 1941 Yankees. So let's go ahead and get everything into place. In fact, in case you had missed the first couple games and were wondering how the tournament is running, we are running on 23-man rosters only because some of the older seasons don't have that many cards, and I didn't want to give a huge advantage to the newer sets by having them have more players. So that's the reason for that. Let's look at the starting lineups and the available players for each team. First with the Mets. Starting pitcher for the Mets in today's game, Tom Terrific, 25-7 with a 2.21 ERA. Let's look at the starting lineups, and then we'll go to the bench and bullpen players available. But for the starting lineups, leading off in center field will be Tommy Agee. Batting second and playing left field is Cleon Jones. Batting third and playing as the DH, Art Shamsky. Batting cleanup is first baseman Don Clendenin. Batting fifth is second baseman Ken Boswell. Hitting sixth in right field is Juan Swoboda. Hitting seventh at third base is Wayne Garrett. He has a little bit better card than Ed Charles does, so we're going with Wayne Garrett. Jerry Grody, the catcher, hits eighth, and Bud Harrelson, shortstop, bats ninth. On the bench for the Mets, the available bench players, they have four position players: Ed Charles, Ed Kranepool, Al Weiss, and J.C. Martin. Those four are available off the bench. In the bullpen, they have Nolan Ryan, Ron Taylor, Tug McGraw, Jim McAndrew, Cal Kuntz, and then finally Jack DeLauro, another lefty. Of course, they also have Kuzman and so forth, but they're starters, so I'm not even going to include those. For the Atlanta Braves, it'll be on the mound Greg Maddux, 20-10 with a 2.36 ERA in the 93 season. And their starting lineups: Otis Nixon will lead off in center field. Deion Sanders is in left field hitting second. David Justice is in right field hitting third. Fred McGriff's at first. He will hit cleanup. Batting in the fifth position is DH Ron Gant. Hitting sixth is third baseman Terry Pendleton. Batting seventh is shortstop Jeff Blauser. Batting eighth is catcher Damon Berryhill. And batting ninth is second baseman Mark Lemke. And let's look at the bench players available for Atlanta. They, of course, have four as well: Sid Breen, Rafael Belliard, Francisco Cabrera, and Greg Olson, the other catcher. In their bullpen, they have Kent Merker, Greg McMichael, Mike Stanton, a lefty, Steve Bedrosian, Jay Howell, and Mark Wohlers. So those are the rosters for today's game, so that you know who I have available and who I do not. We'll bring the score sheet in as it almost tips over on me there, the little stand. Got too far leaning forward, I guess, or leaning down, whichever the case may be. So we will get everything into position. Got my backstop over here so the dice don't go crazy on me. And we'll put the charts over here. All right, let's get the score sheet where you can see the entire score sheet. I think you can do that now right there. Let's get the starting pitcher, Greg Maddux. Atlanta is the home team by designation of the better seeding and better record. But of course, we're playing at a neutral field because there are no ballpark effects. So Greg Maddux finishing his warm-up tosses, and Tommy Agee getting ready to step into the box. Last thing I need are the dice. So I got to figure out which kind of dice I want to use. I think I'll go ahead and just use the standard red and white and a blue D20. So that's going to be our dice. Whoops, don't need the decider die. That's for another game. So here we go. We are underway. Tommy Agee to start things off, and we'll see if Maddux can shut down the Mets and match Tom Seaver pitch for pitch. 5-7 against Maddux. That's a ground ball second base X. That's Lemke. And we look at the numbers on Lemke. He is a defensive rating at second base of 2 E16, but he's a 2 right now. That's the main part for range. He's a 2, and that's a 3. A 2 and a 3, he will still get to it. It's a ground ball A, so it's good play. Lemke ranges over, makes that tough play, retires Agee. 1 away. And here's Cleon Jones, left fielder. 3-5 for Cleon. It's a solid single. So Cleon Jones, a 1-out single. He's a B stealer. He will be held. Let's check the possibility of him running. As a B stealer, he starts out as a 13. You subtract 3 for being held, makes him a 10. And then you got the arm of Berryhill, who's a -1, would make it a 9. So less than 50-50 proposition. So Cleon's going to stay right where he is. And the DH Art Shamsky is going to step in. 6-10 off of Maddux. 6-10 is a fly to center, handled by center fielder Otis Nixon. Otis, my man. And there's 2 away. That leads it up to the big slugging first baseman Don Clendenin. Came over in the trade mid-season, I believe, from the Expos. 112 is a fly ball center field. And again, Otis, my man, makes the play. And there's nothing doing for the Metropolitans here in the top of the first. So we go to the bottom of the first. It is the Mets, nothing, and the Braves coming to bat. And Tom Terrific. See if he can match Greg Maddux in this stellar pitching matchup. Going to be a lot of stellar pitching matchups in the first round because you get the aces from all the teams. Here's Otis Nixon facing Tom Seaver. 6-10. Nixon's a switch hitter. 6-10's a ground ball shortstop X. That's Bud Harrelson. And defensively, Bud Harrelson's a 2 with an E27. But 2 is the main number. 2 and a 5, that will be a good play. It's a ground ball C, but that's all that's needed to get the swift Otis Nixon, keep him off the bases. Speaking of swift, here's Neon Deion Sanders. 3-3. 3-3 is going to ground it to short. And again, Harrelson up to the task. And there's quickly 2 up and 2 down for David Justice. 6-5 off of Seaver. That's a ground ball to first, handled by Clendenin. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Tom Seaver and the Mets as the Braves go meekly. 1 inning is in the books, and we're tied at no score. And that's to be expected in this game. Greg Maddux, if you like low scoring, this is probably your game. If you want runs, probably came to the wrong video. Unless we get to the bullpens. All right, here's Ken Boswell, second baseman, to lead it off. 5-8 against Maddux. And that's a ground ball to second. So Lemke, keep him busy over there, 1 away. It's going to bring up Ron Swoboda, right fielder. 3-2 for Swoboda. And that's a low max. Nobody's on base, but he lines it right to Blauser. And Blauser corrals it for out number 2. That would have been a double play had there been a runner on base. Here's Wayne Garrett at third. 2-6. He will fly to left, and that's going to end the inning. So nothing doing there. 3 up, 3 down. Mets of 69 were not that potent on offense. They were known for their pitching. And of course the Braves ultimately known for their pitching. So here's Fred, the crime dog, Fred McGriff. This is when the Braves really took off in '93 when they acquired McGriff from the Padres. 3-3, he just missed a home run. It's going to be a walk instead. So the crime dog gets on with a leadoff walk. He's a D stealer. He will not be held. Here's the DH Ron Gant. 4-6 off of Seaver, and we got a chink in the armor of Seaver. 1's a triple, but anything else is a single, 2 stars, and McGriff will go to third. And that's exactly what we have. Runners at the corners and nobody out here in the bottom of the second. As the Braves look to strike. Gant's an A stealer. He will be held. Let's see if he wants to try to run. He would be a 15 being held, makes him a 13. And then Grody's arm is a -3, so that would be a 1 to 10 chance. But you got runners on the corners and nobody out. You don't want to start getting outs on the base paths, so they'll keep Gant where he is. Infield's a double play depth. They'll trade a run for 2 outs if they can get it. 6-9, Pendleton, 6-9. Ground ball shortstop X, that is Harrelson. Again, he's a 2. And that's a 5. 2 and a 5 is a ground ball C. So that will score the run in advance. Gant to second, all in one fell swoop. And the Braves lead it 1-0 on the RBI ground out by Terry Pendleton. Tough play, tough chance there for Harrelson. Only play was to go to first. There's 1 out with a runner at second. Gant will be held. And Jeff Blauser, shortstop, steps to the plate, 6-4. Fly ball center field X, that's Tommy Agee. And Agee is a 1 with an E6. But a 1 is the important number right now. 1 and an 8 should be a good play. Take a look. 1 and an 8, barely. It's a fly ball C. If it had been a 9, that would have gone to the error check. But it's a good play. And there's 2 away, and that's going to bring up the catcher, Damon Berryhill. It's kind of the personal catcher for Greg Maddux. He had a tendency not to want to throw to Javi Lopez or to Greg Olson. Kind of wanted to go to Eddie Perez and Damon Berryhill. 5-8. 5-8 is a ground ball second base X, and that is going to be Mr. Boswell. We'll check his defensive prowess. He's a 3, E34, so error range is a little high. Error rate's a little high. Range is about even. 3 and 11. That's going to take us to the E34. So Boswell could be in trouble here. E34 and a 5, and that is a 1 base error on Boswell. So Berryhill will reach on the E4, and going to third will be Gant. So runners on the corners again with 2 outs. Berryhill will not be held as an E stealer. And here's Lemke. See, we're trying to minimize the damage. 4-5. But he won't do it. 4-5. It's a 1-3 home run. Of course, Lemke is weak power against righties. So that would be a single. 4-20 would be a double. And we know at least 1 run would score. Don't know about Berryhill. It's a 3, so it's only a single 2 stars. So that makes that a moot point. Berryhill will go to third. Gant will come in to score. It's 2-0 Braves, as they're getting to Seaver here in the second. And here's Otis Nixon. Lemke, E-stealer, will not be held. 5-6. Struck him out. That's going to end the inning. But a productive one for the Braves, and those 2 runs might be enough the way Greg Maddux is pitching. You never know. Got 7 innings to go, so anything's liable to happen. But after 2, it's 2-0 Braves. Greg Maddux out enjoying this lead. And since we're using the DH, he can stay in as long as he wants without having to worry about being pinch hit for. He does have a fatigue of 7, so we keep an eye on that. Seaver has fatigue of 8. Right, here's Garrodi, the catcher. 4-4, and that's a fly ball center field X. That is going to be Otis Nixon. And Nixon, defensively, is a 2, E4. So a 2 is the main number. And a 2 and a 6 should be a good play for the center fielder. We'll double check it. And it is. It's a fly ball B, but nobody's on base. Easy fly to center for Otis, my man. Makes the play. And that brings up number 9 hitter Bud Harrelson. 111 for Harrelson. He's going to ground to Blauser at short. 2 down. And the Mets' anemic offense may cause them problems. Here's Agee. 5-2, and that's a solid single. So Agee gets a 2-out single. Would he want to run? No, he's a C stealer, so he's not going to try it. But he will be held. Here's Cleon Jones. 1-7 for Jones, and that's a walk. So maybe a 2-out rally here by the Mets. It's 2 on with 2 outs. Runners are being held. The runner at second's being held, not Jones at first, but Agee at second's being held. And here's the DH Shamsky. 2-7 for Shamsky, and he'll get it done right here. 1-6 is a double. 7-20 is a single, 2 stars, so the run will score. It is a single, 2 stars, so that will bring in Agee from second rather, and move Jones to third. RBI single. Leads cut to 2-1. Shamsky will not be held, as he is an E stealer. That brings in Clendenin. So the Mets finally break that scoreboard. 110, and he's going to break it even further. Clendenin goes deep. A 3-run home run for Clendenin. All this with 2 outs and the bases empty. And Maddux, a little shell-shocked, thought he had an easy inning, but all of a sudden it's 4-2 in favor of the Mets. Don Clendenin, a 3-run homer. And here's Boswell, 5-8. Ground ball to second. Lemke's got it to end the inning, but a big 4 spot. for the Mets, and they lead it 4-2 as we go to the bottom of the third, and we're getting more runs than what I thought, for sure. But Clendenin has really put the Braves in shell shock mode with that 3-run homer. And now the Braves have their work cut out for him. Here's Neon Dion. 5-5, he strikes out. So maybe Tom Seaver got a little boost from that run support. So he puts the K on Dion. Here's Justice. 6-6. Ground ball to second. Easy play for Boswell. 2 up and 2 down. And that's going to bring up McGriff, the crime dog. 3-10 for McGriff, and he's going to fly to left. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Tom Terrific. And the Mets lead it 4-2 as we go to the fourth. Maddox, Bobby Cox. I don't even know what to do right now. They're still in a little bit of shell shock. Here's Swoboda. 2-11 rather. 2-11 is a ground ball back to Maddox. 1 away. Brings up Wayne Garrett. 1-8. Struck him out. So Maddox regrouping obviously after that bad inning. Jerry Grody. 1-8. That's a 2-out single for Jerry Grody. He will not be held. He brings up Bud Harrelson. 1-9 for Harrelson. Ground ball to Lemke, and that's going to end the inning. But maybe Leo Mazzoni gave a pep talk to Maddox and settled him down because he had that disastrous third, but comes back with a good fourth. Go to the bottom of the fourth, and still 4-2 Mets. Braves looking to see if they can get back in this. Here's Gant. 2-8 for Gant, and Gant did it in a big way right there. A home run on a 2-8. All of a sudden, it's a 4-3 game. As the Braves say, not so fast, my friends. Here's Pendleton. 2-6 for Pendleton. Grounds to short. Harrelson's got it. 1 away. And that's going to send us to Jeff Blauser. 2-11 for Blauser is a base hit to left field. So they keep it going. Blauser's a beast stealer. He will have to be held. He's not going to go anywhere, but he will be held. Barry Hill, the batter. 2-4 for Barry Hill. He lines out to third. Snagged by Pendleton. I'm sorry, by Garrett. And there's 2 down. Here's Lemke. 2-7 for Lemke is a ground ball to second. Since he was a lefty hitter, that means the shortstop was responsible for holding the runner, so the plus by the second baseman doesn't affect anything. It is an out. But the Braves pick up a run on the Gant homer. Gant is 2 for 2, a single and a home run, scoring 2 of the 3 runs. It's 4-3 as we go to the fifth. And I would not have thought that we would have had this many runs. All right, Maddox back out to start the fifth. Almost a brand new game, 4-3. Here's Agee, top of the order. 1-8 for Agee, and he could go deep. 1-13. It will be a home run. 14-20. He'll start with a leadoff double. And that's a 5, so Agee has gone deep. Tommy Agee responds to the home run by Gant with 1 of his own, and the Mets back to a 5-3 lead. Maddox could be in need of relief. Oops, Cleon Jones, that one missed the spot there. 1-7, and that's a walk. So Cleon Jones is going to walk. He will be held as a B stealer, so he will be held. Maddox gives up another run. He'll be fatigued automatically. Here's Shamsky. 4-7 against Maddox. That's a strikeout. He needed that big time. 1 away for the dangerous Clendenin. He had that 3-run homer last time. 4-4, not this time. It's a fly ball center field X, so Nixon's there. And Nixon is a 2. 2-17 should be no problem whatsoever for a center fielder. It is not. It's a fly ball B, and with the runner at first, he can't go anywhere. So there's 2 down. And he got by Clendenin. Now it's Ken Boswell. Grounded second twice. 3-6. He's not going to ground to second this time. 3-6 is a double. 1-7. Single 8-20. But it's 2 stars, so the runner cannot score. It's a 7, so it's a double for Ken Boswell. And stopping at third is Cleon Jones. So now they're really on dire straits for Ron Swoboda. Bullpen is ready for the Braves if needed. They do have Mike Stanton, the lefty. Here's Swoboda, 1-6. Struck him out. Big strikeout for Maddox. Keeps him in the game. with the run scores to make it 5-3 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Never would have expected a slugfest in this one, but that's why you play the game. Here's Seaver against Otis, my man. 211 for Otis, and that's a base hit. Leadoff single. He's definitely a threat to steal. He's a double-A stealer. Starts as a 17, being held, makes him a 15, and then Olson's arm, I'm sorry, not Olson, Grody's arm, rather, is a -3, so that could be interesting. Goes from a 17 to a 15 down to a 12, so it's a 1-12 for Otis Nixon to try to steal. They'll go ahead and take that chance. It's over 50%. And he makes it, and it's possible throwing error since we got a 3 there. So we'll check the Grody T rating, and the Grody T rating is a 1-9, so it could be a throwing error on a 1-9. It is not. It's just a stolen base. But he's in scoring position. It takes away the double play. And we've got Dion stepping to the plate. 5-3 is ground ball pitcher X right to Seaver. He's a 1-11, but 1 is the key factor right now. 1 and a 13. Usually pitchers go to the air. They don't use much range, and that's the case here. So he is an E11. And we rolled a 5. E11 and a 5 is a 1 base error on Seaver. So go figure. That'll bring home, or not bring home the run, but it'll put runners at the corners with nobody out and 2 speed burners on the bases. Dion will be held. He will not try to steal, but he will be held. Here's Justice. 4-5. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong spot. 4-5 is a possible home run for Justice. 4-20 is a double that will probably clear the bases anyway. But it's a 3, so it's gone. David Justice, a 3-run homer. And all of a sudden, the Braves now lead it 6-5. And now Seaver is fatigued. It is 6-5. He is fatigued. Bullpen is in heavy pursuit being used. And let's see who they're going to go to. They're going to go to Tug McGraw. So Tug McGraw is going to come in for Seaver. Seaver doesn't even make it through the 5th, as he just got waylaid by the Braves, and the long ball in particular, as Justice hits a home run same as Gant did. It's now 6-5 favor of the Braves, and Tug McGraw is your new pitcher for the Mets. He will be on to face Fred McGriff, lefty on lefty. Still nobody out. 3-9, lefty on lefty, struck him out. So he got the K, 1 away. That brings up Ron Gant. Speaking of homers, he's singled and homered. 1-6, he will line to second. Snagged over there by Boswell. So McGraw trying to cool the jets of the Braves here. Keep this score at 6-5. Here's Pendleton, 3-9. And that's a potential double. 1-13 would be that double. And it is. It's a 2-out double for Pendleton. So the Braves may not be done yet. He's a D-stealer. He will not be held. And here's Blauser, shortstop. 6-9. 6-9 is a walk. So McGraw running into some issues all of a sudden after 2 were out. And that's going to send us to Damon Berryhill, catcher. 3-11 is a ground ball to pitcher plus injury. We're not doing injury, but it's a ground ball back to McGraw to end the inning. But 3 runs for the Braves, and they take a 6-5 lead after 5. So boy, just totally throwing me off kilter with this slugfest going on. I was expecting maybe a 2-1 game, and these guys are having none of it. So now Maddox has the lead to protect again, and with that lead, they'll leave him in there. Face Wayne Garrett. 4-7, and that's a strikeout. So maybe Maddox, pumped up by that run support, gets the strikeout. Here's Jerry Grody. 6-11, another strikeout. So back-to-back Ks against the bottom of the order. Here's Bud Harrelson. 4-7, switch hitter. 4-7, struck him out. So Maddox strikes out the side in the 6th, announces his presence with authority, as somebody once said in a movie. And now, if I can fix this 0 to be right here, we go to the bottom of the 6th. It is 6-5 favor of the Braves. McGraw going to stay in there. He'll be facing Lemke, and then the top of the order, Nixon and Sanders, followed by Justice and McGriff. So a lot of lefties coming up. 1-9 for Lemke, but look at this. 1-9 is 1 to 11 is a home run. 12 to 20 is a triple. And there's another home run by Mark Lemke. How many home runs? He had 7 on the year. He just got one right here. So Mark Lemke gets long ball happy. And the Braves lead it 7-5. Here's Otis, my man, Otis Nixon. 3-4 against the lefty. He's going to ground to short. Harrelson's got it. One away, and that brings up Neon Dion. 6-3, and that's a solid single by Dion. He will not try to steal, though, because it wouldn't be with Grody behind the plate. It's not a good odds. Here's Justice. 6-10, and that's a fly ball center field X. That's Agee. He's a 1. And that's a 14. That might go to his error check. Let's take a look. 1 in 14. Nope, it's a fly ball C. He doesn't make the catch. So Agee pulls it in for out number 2. And that brings up McGriff. And this is probably McGraw's last batter, one way or the other, because you got the dangerous righty Gant coming up next. And you got Nolan Ryan in the bullpen. 6-11. Fly ball left field, that's going to do it as Jones hauls it in. But that'll be all for Tug McGraw. As he goes, let's see, Seaver went 4+, and McGraw goes 2. So that's it for Tug McGraw. Nolan Ryan will be the new pitcher for the Mets in the 7th inning. For the Braves, they add to their lead thanks to the Lemke homer. And it is now 7-5 as we go to the 7th inning. And Maddox, this will be his point of weakness beginning. So they'll keep a close eye on Maddox. Agee, 6-6, struck him out. That's 4 consecutive strikeouts. Actually 5 going back to the 6th. 5 strikeouts in a row by Maddox. So he's got his second wind. Cleon Jones, 2-6. Ground ball back to Maddox. So all of a sudden Maddox is just taking over the game and shutting the Mets down. Here's Shamsky. 6-5. That's a fly to center. That's going to end the inning. So for Maddox, that is now 7 in a row put away. And I think Bobby Cox is glad he didn't go to his bullpen. Stuck with the veteran Maddox, and it's paying off. So 7th inning stretch, and Nolan Ryan will be the new pitcher for the Mets. He'll be facing Ron Gant, Terry Pendleton, and Jeff Blauser. So Nolan Ryan, 3rd pitcher for the Mets. Trying to keep it right where it is at 7-5 as long as he can. 2-7. Ooh, Gant just missed another home run on that 2-8. 2-7, though, was a ground ball to short. And there's one away. Here's Pendleton. 1-6, struck him out. So Nolan Ryan. Ryan Express heating up. 2 down for Blauser. 4-11, and that's a base hit for Blauser. 2-out single for Blauser. And that'll bring up Berryhill. Blauser will be held. He's a bee stealer. 3-9 for Berryhill. He flies to left, and that's going to end the inning. Nothing doing. We go to the 8th. Still a 7-5 ball game, and we may have a substitution for the Braves for defense. Let's see here how they want to play this. They're going to bring in Rafael Belliard at short to replace Blauser. Blauser's a 3 E21, but Belliard is a 2 E21, so better range. And they want that better defensive lineup out there when they've got a lead. So Belliard will take over at short. And I think everything else will stay the same. Not going to bring Olsen in when you got Maddox pitching, though. You'd save him if you use the bullpen. So Maddox, now, having retired 7 in a row, has to face the dangerous Don Clendenin, who did get a 3-run homer off of him earlier. 1-8, and 1-8 is going to be he's close to these home runs, but 1-8's a ground ball back to Maddox. So Maddox hanging in there. Here's Boswell. 6-6, struck him out. So Maddox, boy, whatever Leo Mazzoni told him after that 5th inning is really, or after the 3rd inning really, is really sunk in. 3-10, Swoboda, ground ball back to Maddox. I'm sorry, to short rather. be handled by the new shortstop Belliard, and the inning's over. So we go to the bottom of the 8th. Ryan back out there. And I believe that's going to be all for Matic. He's going to go 8. And they'll turn it over most likely to Mark Wohlers to try to finish things out. Ryan is trying to keep things where they are in the 8th against Mark Lemke. 412. 412 is a walk, so not a good start for Ryan. You don't want to start walking, guys. Although Lemke is an E-stealer, so he's not going to go anywhere. He won't even be held. Nixon, 311. Ground ball to short B. It's a fielder's choice. So that puts the speedy Nixon on base. He will be held. He will not try to steal. He's going to stay where he is for Dion. 210 for Dion is a ground ball to first B. It's another fielder's choice. So now Dion is the runner. As Clendenin throws to Harrelson for the force. And that brings up David Justice. 6-6, and that's another walk off of Ryan. So Ryan, a little bit of control issues here. 2 on for the big crime dog, Fred McGriff. 6-7 is another walk, so that's going to load the bases. And do you bring in another pitcher for Ryan because he's having control issues? Well, now he's facing Gant, so he walks fewer righties than he did lefties. So they're going to let him pitch to Gant. Bases loaded, trying to keep it what it is. 3-7. Almost got another walk, but it's a ground ball to second. Handled by Boswell, and they get out of that mess. And keep the score right where it is at 7-5. We go to the top of the 9th. Last chance for the Metropolitans. As it's a 7-5 game. And Mark Wohlers coming on to try to close the deal after Maddox goes 8. So Mark Wohlers, and on the season he was a 4.50 ERA with no saves. Do we want to use Wohlers? I thought he was the closer. Let me check. I think it might have been somebody else. Let's see. I might be premature. Greg McMichael was actually their closer. But you know what? Well, they're going to go ahead and let Wohlers go, but bullpen action is right behind him. You do have McMichael and you do have Mike Stanton both loosening. So if he gets in any kind of trouble, he's going to be coming out of there. But Wohlers is going to stay in there or start the top of the 9th against Wayne Garrett. 3-9 for Garrett. He flies to right, and that's 1 away. Brings up Jerry Grody. Now you got to start thinking about pinch hitting, especially for Bud Harrelson. I think Bud Harrelson's going to get pinch hit for by Cranepool. So here's Grody. 2-5 for Grody. Struck him out. So Wohlers gets the strikeout there. They're down to the last out. And the venerable Ed Cranepool is going to pinch hit for Bud Harrelson. So Bud Harrelson is out of there, and Ed Cranepool steps to the plate. The venerable Ed Cranepool. If it does happen to go extra innings, Al Weiss would be the new shortstop. But right now, it's Ed Cranepool. Last chance for the Mets against Wohlers. 3-5, and it's a walk. So he drew a walk, and that brings the tying run to the plate. And since Cranepool doesn't run well, they will bring in Al Weiss to pinch run. At least he's a 15 and a C-stealer. So Al Weiss is going to be your pinch runner at second base. Or at first base, rather. And here's Tommy Agee. Tommy Agee. Now, do they stick with Wohlers with the tying run at the plate, or do you get it over to McMichael? You're going to stick with Wohlers. Rolling the dice here, literally and figuratively, sticking with Wohlers. Here's Agee. 4-7, and that's another walk. So now Wohlers running some issues. Got 2 on and 2 out for Cleon Jones. And Bobby Cox has seen enough. He says, I don't want any more walks out there. So he's going to bring in their closer, Greg McMichael. And on the season, in 93, McMichael did have 19 saves. So Greg McMichael, as Wohlers couldn't get it done with those walks. So here we go. 2 on, tying runs are on base. Go-ahead runs at the plate, and Cleon Jones facing McMichael. But McMichael is tough. 1-9. 1-9 is a ground ball to short, and that's going to end the inning and the ball game. As Belliard puts it away, Braves hang on and win it by the score of 7-5. They beat Seaver and the Mets 7-5. And how do you like that, folks? McMichael gets the save for Greg Maddux, and Seaver takes the loss as he was just bludgeoned by this Braves team. Very uncharacteristic. Whoops. Knocked into my stand. Sorry about that. I was trying to get the cards together and I hit my stand. That's what happens when you use mediocre equipment, but that's all I have. So anyway, sorry about that little, for those still watching this late in the game. For those who stuck it out, I apologize for that little mix up there. But as we bring on the tournament grid, let's move this out of the way. We bring on the tournament grid and we can write in Atlanta. So Atlanta will advance, and so far the better seed has won all 3 games. Number 1 seed, 4 seed, and 10 seed have all beaten the 23, 29, and 32 seeds. So the seeding so far has held up. And the next game on the schedule for video purposes, we will be moving to the other quadrant, and we're going to come right here to the 11 versus 22 game, the 1988 Oakland A's against the 1976 Philadelphia Phillies. It'll be Dave Stewart against Steve Carlton in that matchup. So that's the next video that's going to be presented in the May Madness. But for right now, Atlanta, a surprising 7-5 victory over the Mets and Tom Seaver as they advance to the second round, Sweet 16, if you will. All right, so that's gonna do it from here. Hope you're staying safe with this coronavirus mess that's going on. Hope you have plenty of supplies handy, and just practice your social distancing, as they say, and enjoy the videos from all the creators on YouTube that do these games. Give you your sports fix, I guess you want to call it that. And just stay safe out there and keep your head up. So, final score again, Atlanta 7, Mets 5. Enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And as usual, I will see you all down the road.